That's what we do these days, giving you updates on what's happening, informating you on things happening on social media, on the newspapers, on ABS website, and the national tabloids. Next is to discuss what topic that we have for you this morning. Building a resilient future through first aid and disaster preparedness. In other countries where you see natural disasters, the typhoon, the earthquake, tsunami, and the rest of it all, as little as primary school children know safety measures to take in order to save their own lives and that of the entire class. I don't think we have such in this part of the world, because if you see accidents, the first thing Nigerians do is bring out their phone and start videoing. And that's not the way to save lives. So we have gentlemen here in the studio that will be helping us on how to be prepared for danger, even though nobody expects or wishes danger to come away, but they are not something that we can just wish away. Well, I'm Ajuluchuku Okawe, in case you're just joining us.
My name is Ijoma Uche, and this topic is just for the commemoration of 2025 World First Aid and Disaster Management Day, coming up on Saturday, that's tomorrow, September 2025, which has its theme as First Aid and Climate Change. We won't be here tomorrow, so that's why we're handling this today, to at least to open your eyes on what you should be expecting tomorrow, okay? Welcome indeed.
And here in the studio we have Joseph Obidigwe, Branch Communication Officer, Nigeria Red Cross Society, Anambra State, and Mr. Peculiar Oji, Disaster Management Expert. Gentlemen, glad to have you in our studios this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, Peculiar, good morning.
Good morning.
And then Joseph Obidigwe. Did I get your name right?
Yes, Obidigwe.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, let's begin, and that's building a resilient future through first aid and disaster preparedness. We shall be taking that one after the other. To start with, disaster. When people talk about disaster, they think that, oh, my world has crashed, my world has ended. But then, to our listeners and viewers out there, can somebody actually prepare for such things? And if so, how can it be? Let's start with you, Peculiar.
Thank you so much. Like you say, like you asked, someone can actually prepare for disaster. That does not mean disaster cannot happen.
Yeah.
But then, when you prepare, at some point it reduces the level of its impact. It happens. Like my sister said when she was making some analysis. Over there, you discover that people, you actually prepare, you get ready, you know that this thing is going to happen. But then you start putting things in order. In case of peradventure it happens, what am I going to do? How do I go about it? When you were talking earlier, you said our people are good at when disaster occurs, yeah, they'll pick up their phone. I'm the first person that something happened a few days back. It's a particular Sunday. I was coming back with my wife. We get to a particular bus stop. We want to pick a tricycle. So suddenly we had a very big hit, very big noise. What happened? A vehicle coming hit a young girl about maybe around 12 years. Threw her up, get to the floor. The girl fell down with face down. Now, I was where we were standing with some other person, and people rushed, and the small girl suddenly stood up and caught herself. And the guy that hit her packed already and was like, let's take her to hospital. Eventually, people have already brought their phone. The next thing, no, let her mother come. This is that. Wow. I became angry. I rushed to that place. I said, can we do first aid first? No, you cannot do anything until the mother comes around. Now, I told them, do you know that the few minutes you've spent here, something bad would have occurred in the system? And if we actually understand the area of first aid and disaster management, talking about mitigation, you will discover that there are certain things we need to do. So, like you say, we can actually plan or prepare for disaster. So that whenever it occurs, the impact will be reduced to some levels.
Okay, thank you very much. Joseph Obidiwe, let's come to you. For us to prepare for disaster management, we need to know what and what you can classify as a disaster. So what is it that we prepare for, Joseph?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So talking about the things we prepare for, first I want to talk about what disaster is first.
Yes, yes.
It's a sudden occurrence, not planned for, that is capable of causing unrest in any system. So I don't want to start speaking the big grammars. So disaster is simply all situations that can create unrest in the system, right? So the question will always be, why does this actually even matter? Why are we
Before we
talking?
get to that question, what and what are they? Like what's happened
Okay,
that
so
this one is a disaster?
Okay, so we have things like flood.
Okay.
Flood is a serious disaster. We have heat wave, right? We have, and of course, we know that disaster, first of all, is classified under, we have humanly induced disaster, and we also have natural disaster.
Let's hear them.
So when you're talking of the natural disasters, you're talking of things that nature just brings to us. It's not something that people do. So like I said, flood is one of them. We also have the heat wave. We also have, for other countries, earthquakes, tsunamis, drought, fire outbreak, and all those things are all natural disaster. Now, when we talk of the humanly induced disaster, we're talking of disaster that come to us because of somebody's action, right? So, for instance, when we talk of things like the normal, some people do mining, right? Yeah. And then some of those things can cause disaster because when it is not properly managed, people die, and then we hear a lot of stories. We've heard in the past a lot of things that happen. Now, we also have even the overspeeding.
Fatal accident.
Fatal accident. So people are driving as if they have their life hung somewhere. And you know, to make matters worse, they are playing the music's loud and they don't even hear any other thing.
Or picking calls.
Right? So all these things, there are those situations that bring us to unrest, either by human activities or by natural.
What about building collapse? Is it also classified as disaster, man-induced disaster?
Of course. Now, building collapse, you can say it's man-induced because people have said in the past that if a structure is properly built, you will hardly hear of a collapse, right?
Yeah.
So, and that is why it is some people, some of these things are in an attempt to cut costs. You see people not wanting to go through all the procedures. So they are trying to avoid paying extras to professionals. So at the end of the day, what do we get? A building stays for, in fact, the last one in Onitsha, they were not done with the building, right?
Under construction.
They were still, it was still under construction. Even in Amobia here, the last, it was last year, right? So the buildings were still under construction, and all of a sudden, there was a crack, and then the building collapsed. Some people died in that incident because I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you were talking, highlighting some of these natural disasters, classifying them in both man-made and the one that nature puts on us. And we begin to answer, the preparedness towards these disasters, is it based on locality, like somebody living in Turkey, Japan, some parts of America, their response to disaster, could it be different from people living in sub-Saharan Africa, maybe because we don't have earthquakes and the rest of it here? Peculiar. Is disaster peculiar? That's the word. to regions. You understand? Because you know, I want to know because where there are certain documentaries that we watched, and they were even teaching children how to swim in case of a disaster, like a tsunami comes in and everything like that. And the kids were being taught how to swim so that you can save yourself at least before you start going to save others.
I think it's not peculiar to a particular environment. Okay. Though some disaster happens, just like when he was talking, he talked about the earthquake and all the rest of them, maybe because of the nature of the environment. So they witness that frequently. Now here, we know that we are good with flooding and some other ones. And the preparation is just that we have failed to put attention to some necessary thing we need to do. You see, it is not a bad idea, just like you said, that we begin to teach our people how to swim in case it occurs. Now, the second thing there is, we already know that these disasters might likely occur, or will actually occur. What measures are we taking to put in place? Over the period, flood has always happened here.
Exactly. I was coming to that. What measures are we taking to either prevent it or reduce the damage?
This morning when I was coming, I got to a place, I was in a tricycle, and I saw a man, after sweeping whatever his compound or where, I don't know, his shop here, the dirt he swept out, he packed them in a bucket. The next thing I saw that he went to throw it inside a gutter system.
Wow.
Automatically, when rain comes, it will block the passage of those water. And what will happen? It will start returning back to the houses. It becomes flooding. And who suffers it? We end up suffering it. So these are some of the things. So if we have taken...
Did you caution the guy when you saw that?
I was in the tricycle, so it was actually moving.
Okay.
In fact, I was talking to the man driving me this morning. I said, why would people, after eating inside the vehicle, you threw the
wrapper or whatever
something on the road?
Yeah.
Why? Why must we do that? Why not have a bucket inside your vehicle? Somebody can put it there. When you get to the park, you now dispose them. It is more safer. It not just like you talked about the accident that occurred. Some of the accidents not just because of speed and all the rest of them. So many things on the road can cause accidents. And they are all human induced. So you find out that we have not taken certain measures, to mitigate or prevent this thing from actually getting worse. And that is why whenever it comes, it looks as if it's hitting us very bad. Not as if it doesn't happen. Now, when we teach, when we do a simulation on flooding, maybe evacuation, maybe on how to respond when it occurs, I think it will go a long way to reduce the impact of this flooding whenever it occurs.
Okay, is that what you mean by taking precaution? Because when you talk of flood, one will think that when you talk about taking precaution before the advent of flooding, one will start thinking maybe is there anything that we could do to avoid the flooding coming, like what we see in Nigeria that is perennial. Every year we talk about what do you call it, flood here. Is there anything that could be done to contain it? Some other time now they will tell us, we are still expecting that one, that Cameroon has opened their dam, that's why the flood is in Nigeria. Don't we have dams to open and flood elsewhere? Or don't we have what to do to block the flooding so that when they open it, it will go back to Cameroon and flood Cameroon? You understand? So these are the measures that we expect to hear, that this is how you are preparing to contain a natural disaster. That one is even a man-made disaster.
There are things we could do, but I do not want to go that way because it's a very big one that may not be left for the common man in the street.
Okay.
But let the
but then, if government goes ahead to, we have like the rivers here and try to, build dams, irrigation channels. Yes. To take the water. They dredge the rivers. I think it will go a long way. But I was not taking this precaution. I'm talking about the people.
What can we do?
What can we, as individuals, we are not government per se, okay? But that individual living in a community, what can you do? You're not
government, but you can recommend to government.
No, I know. That's
for you to make our work easier. Why don't you dredge River Niger so that we avoid flooding? You can do recommendations.
The dredging is there. Building of dams across many of course a few days back, there was a kind of blackout many places because of one or two things. But I'm sure that if the dams are there, and then the lighting system is distributed normally, it will solve a whole lot of problems. And then when they release the water, the dam is absorbing.
And then generating
electricity. So, but then on our own part as individuals, there are many things we could do. So that when it actually, I went to a particular community, I discovered that the nature of houses they build is, you would think they have money, but they don't. They will just do do I call it a beam or whatever. Before they start building, they will have reached a first decade, and they now start building the main, their main houses.
Okay.
They are mitigating flood.
Okay.
And
Yes.
so when the flood comes, it cannot enter their house.
Okay, because they are already once
They have built.
Yeah.
Underneath is empty.
But
so that they use it as a car.
the cost of building that stuff is more even expensive.
Some of them will
they're preserving lives.
Some of them will spend.
Nothing can be more expensive than your life.
They are putting little by little, and because they know this is what is obtainable in our community. So there is nothing we can do. We can't stop it. So they are trying to manage this scenario.
Now, talking about natural disasters and the rest of it all, now let's go to human first aid. Schools will tell you, in fact, I've had my kids on different occasions telling us to bring first aid box to school so that they can, know what the content is and what it's being used for. Now, this is coming to you, Joseph. You still dream? Okay. This is coming to you, Joseph. First aid, Nigeria, and the reaction of first aid. Some vehicles will tell you, road safety will tell you need to have a first aid in your vehicle. You understand? A first aid box in your vehicle. Some Nigerians don't even know the content of what should be in first aid box. And this RCP, how to, when somebody, CPR, in the case of bringing people to life or maybe shock and the rest of it all. Please, can you just tell us a little bit about all of that so that life...
Before you state something. There are key will always say that it brings first aid box.
As a project. Yeah, of course. I've done that. It was a project now. It was a project in school. So I had to go and get it and then give to them to take to school.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
So talking about first aid. First, I want to highlight the reason why it's very important. Now, the knowledge of first aid is actually first important because it is somebody who has the knowledge of first aid that starts talking about first aid boss, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, because there can be an equipment, it's just like the camera person here. If he doesn't have the skill, and then you buy come on, what's the best now? I don't remember the best, but and then you talk of one big camera that is 8.7 million, and then you drop it and say, wow, I need a good job from you. I'm telling you, without the skill, that camera will look at you even for 8 years, and then they will be blaming one knob behind it, or right? So what am I saying? It's important to first even have the knowledge. And why is it important in what we're talking about? It's because when disaster happens, the truth is, it's not professionals that are first around, right?
Yeah.
It is that common man, right?
Yeah.
And the common man with basic first aid training becomes a lifesaver.
Okay.
Because first aid is important. Why first aid is important in this whole situation is because the fact that first aid helps to preserve life. It will always prevent us from having more injuries, and then it will promote quick recovery. Right?
Yeah.
So if the common man doesn't have knowledge of first aid, talking about first aid boss will be inconsequential. Like there will be no, what are we talking about first aid boss for? So for instance, during flooding, we have somebody who is drowning. In that kind of scenario, it's not first aid boss you need.
You need to dive in.
No, not like somebody that has been rescued from
water,
but
is dying.
And then,
because
but of course, you know when
water.
you are drowned, you're not breathing, most of them. So in that kind of scenario, it's not first aid boss you need. When somebody is sustains an injury or out of shock of an emergency fence, it's not first aid boss you need. I don't know if you understand that.
What do you
We will
mean?
understand when you explain to us.
So when somebody is somebody who is drowning, for instance, and then somebody who is drowned already. Now we all know that as far as this person is no longer breathing, CPR is what you should commence. What is CPR? Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Before you push out the water in
There's
her
no
system.
pushing anywhere. You're not pushing the water anywhere.
There's the one I see that they
person
press the
is
person
still
and the
breathing.
water will, come out from the mouth, nose, and other ones.
Those things are things that are triggered by lack of knowledge, actually.
Oh, really?
So when you rescue a person,
That is
if the
drowning.
person
That has drowned.
if the person is no longer breathing, please commence first aid, CPR. Now, but if this person is still breathing, please just put them in a recovery position. I wish we have our team here to show you what a recovery position
Why
is.
didn't you come with them? Do you know where you're going?
Okay,
Okay, so
but,
tell us now, what
now,
is recovery position?
Putting a person in recovery position is placing the person by their side with their jaws low. What will happen? This person will just be able to naturally, those water will start pulling out. And the
Really?
person,
Placing the person by the
By
side,
their side.
either left or right.
yes, either like,
Normal sleeping
Yes.
position.
Legs tucked in or the legs stretched out.
no, the legs, one of the legs will be brought, I wish these things are more practical than
Just say anyone you can say. When
But,
next you're coming,
okay,
remember
what
that
I'm
you
saying
come.
is put the person by their side, making sure that their jaws are dropped downwards. So it's more like a sleeping position, right? So
Dropping down was like somebody who is sleeping without a pillow.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Now, when you put that person in that position, the water that is blocking the airways will naturally seep down,
Come out.
drop down.
Instead of pressing the person like they
No, you
usually
don't
do.
you only do CPR when the person
No, it's
is
not
no
CPR.
longer-
Is it
That's
CPR that they do? That one that they press
Yeah,
the tummy,
it's
press
an
everywhere
attempt
for water to come out.
So
Yeah,
it's an attempt to, because like I said, it is what knowledge, the gap in knowledge that is driving this. Now, for somebody who is a fainted casualty, for instance.
You've
so
not talked
something-
about the person that fainted. I mean that drowned now.
I'm saying,
That's what it
if
is.
you
Okay,
are
that's-
not
when you
breathing,
have
if-
not
okay.
the person is not breathing,
If the
Please.
person is breathing,
just put the person in a recovery
then if
position.
the person is not breathing, you now do what?
CPR,
commence it.
cardiopulmonary
You keep
resuscitation.
pressing.
Yes.
As in the person head down, then legs stretched
Is
out.
it the same
you-
position?
No, it's not same position.
Okay.
Now you make the person to lie facing upwards.
Yeah.
Lie on his back.
Yes, on their back, lying on their back. So when the person is like that, but please take note, you don't compress on somebody who is still breathing.
Just that.
You don't do that.
Really?
It's very wrong. So you only start CPR when this person is not breathing. So
This
that's
Okay.
the only place you can start. That's the only time you are permitted to
Okay,
start
so how do you
CPR.
press? How do you press?
Okay, CPR has the positioning. So you knew that is why it's important to have the skill. That's why the main thing here, I am one of those people that say, please, get first aid box if you like. Of course, it's a necessity. But before first aid box, there is a knowledge you need to have.
To know how to.
I am working with the Anambra Broadcasting Service. I am not working with Red Cross or any of these organizations. So how do I get the knowledge?
Oh, wow, wonderful. It's a good question. Now, first, if you are a member of Red Cross, we give this knowledge for free. But you can, at every point in time, call on the Red Cross. There is a price tag to that for commercial first aid, teaching people first aid. You know, they have basic first aid. We have the first aid at work. We have a lot of packages.
It is
when it
this
comes to
commercial
first aid.
attach that will make a lot of people not know the job, because it's supposed to be a public enlightenment program
and that
whereby
is why we say, become a member of the Red Cross.
Is it by
Be
force?
part of it. It's not by force, but
You're not
if
a broadcaster, but
if
you are here now. I invited you to join us here. So how can we just force
you will
anybody?
not volunteer to save life, then be ready to pay to get the knowledge. Is it not that simple?
Oh, really?
Yes, it's simple. So we are saying, if you want to be a Red Crosser, you are guaranteed. In fact, that is how we equip our people. Okay. With the knowledge of first aid, so that a Red Crosser is not around, and then they are saying somebody fainted, and you join and be shouting, "Hey, whoa, hey, whoa." No, you should know what to do. So I just gave an instance with the drowning.
I think
now,
we should
we also have the fainting.
No, don't worry. We'll come back and then we'll start with the fainting, because this thing you said now just puts me off now.
Why?
I think we'll start charging people a whole lot of money to come here and talk. Okay, we'll take a break here. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll now get into the fainting issue and the other things that we're going to learn from them today. You have to sit back and learn, because if you don't learn it here, you are going to pay Red Cross to learn elsewhere.
And we all know, even while we're in primary schools, that's where they first of all start teaching us the benefit of first aid box. It's to assist us get to a point before we go to the hospital. So in the first aid box, you meet things like plaster, scissors, and so on and so forth. This is because if there's any accident, before you rush the person to the hospital, there's this thing you should be doing, which is called the first aid. It's simple English, first aiding. So I think in our offices, at home, and in the cars also, they are very important to be there, because they will actually help us a lot.
First aid box is a medical equipment that comes in handy in cases of medical emergencies that can happen at any time. So it's the first, as the name says, first aid. It's like the first line set of treatments that you can give a patient before you take the patient to the hospital that can be life-saving. So it's useful at home and both in the institutions, because sometimes hospitals can be far away from home. So there are things you can quickly do, resuscitation methods like ABCDE, airway, breathing, circulation, disability and environment. You are the basic life support system you can apply before taking the patient to the hospital for further care.
If you have a cut in your leg, arm, anywhere, you need to, maybe blood is rushing out. You need to put first aid to put a stop to the blood before taking the person to the hospital. So first aid is necessary. Anywhere, even in your car, even at home, everywhere you are, you need first aid in case of emergencies.
Instead of these people running around to go and get treatment, one can easily do that at home. And once you do that, it will prevent death. It prevents a lot of challenges. So it's very important. I advise every school should have a first aid and the school bay where they treat students on emergency.
Parliamentarians there in the street walk, talking about first aid and the rest of it all. But now, let me come to you, Joseph. First aid box. You talked about, we heard them talking about content, scissors, plaster, bandage, and the rest of it all. But then, yeah, now what should be those items in a first aid box? Let me know if what I packaged and sent to school was actually the right thing.
Size. See, we cannot exhaust the things that should be in a first aid box. However, there are basic.
Yeah, the basics.
Now, so if I want to start talking about the things that should be in a first aid box, it might surprise you to be that like you might be surprised to say, if these are the basics, so what are some of these other things doing there? Those things are still okay inside there. So we'll talk about torchlight. We'll talk about the bandage, either triangular or we don't want to start talking of. We talk about they have gauze bandage, of course. Now, we also talk about things like the scissors, right, for cutting. Some people even have a razor there, right, a knife, small knife, right? So, why am I calling some of these things?
Okay, you mean like Swiss knife? That one that has multiple...
Yeah. Sometimes...
Not really normal knife.
Just a normal...
Penknife or those...
What do they do with that one?
Now, depending on the situation, your depending on the situation of the emergency, you might just need that knife for actually cutting, not the kind of cutting that scissors will do. You know, scissors will use for cutting some of those bandages and stuff like that. But those things are part of the things that can be in your first aid box. Now, I don't recommend that you put some of those things that can
drugs here.
No. There's nothing. Okay. So you can have maybe paracetamol.
But the one that we used to have in our primary school, that's Fensic. That's what they were giving us then. When you start running temperature in school, they'll give you Fensic for the first aid.
So why do I say that? Sometimes I don't recommend that you put some of these things that can. Then there are things like these balms. Okay. Different type of balms for massage, like deep heat, relief, right? Now, but some of these other things that expire fast, I don't recommend them in your first aid box. Okay. Right? Because we have people who keep these things and it expires and it's still there. And then something comes and says, I get. And then you are
you go and kill somebody.
You are using the wrong thing.
Okay, right? Thank you very much. Before we went on break, we are talking about rescue mission has to give aid to a drowned person and then somebody that fainted. Okay, we just finished the other, what do you call CPR.
CPR.
Okay, and we wanted to get to the fencing before we went on break. Let me now come to you, Peculiar. So how do you rescue somebody that just fainted?
Somebody that fainted.
Let me say something before Peculiar. So if you talk about fainting, you know, the reason I made some of these things, but Mama, it's obvious you want to get this knowledge for free. That's
why won't I? I'm hosting you for free now. I'm hosting you for free.
It is not a bad idea if the Anambra Broadcasting Service writes to Red Cross
and say yes that they want.
Okay, you will come and enlighten us.
We're partners.
Okay, but we're not going to pay.
I said it's not a bad idea if Anambra Broadcasting Service writes to Red Cross. For one thing or the other, we need first. And of course, every organization is supposed to have it. Because while you are here in the studio, something could happen. Red Cross is not there. You, with the basic knowledge you have, you can respond.
Okay.
So back to what we're saying.
Okay.
We talked about fainting. You know, the reason I gave those instances because they were talking about first aid box. And I'm like, the knowledge, first aid box without knowledge, you are wasting your time, right? Yeah. So fainting doesn't require first aid box for you to be able to manage a casualty who fainted. So if you have a scenario of somebody who fainted, simply raise the lower extremes of their body. Now, what is it? Because you need to understand, why did this person faint in this first place? It is because of lack of supply of oxygenated blood to the brain. Right? Yeah. That is the reason why this person fainted in the first place. So as the person who is around at that time, before the situation gets complicated, please raise the lower extremes of their body. So make them lie on their back and then use pillow. Maybe a chair.
There might not be any pillow.
If you don't even want to use pillow, go use your hand and raise their legs up and hold it up.
To what extent? Will I raise
just hold it
up? With the hips go up to?
No.
Or just the legs?
With the butt on the floor, but the legs.
Yes.
Okay.
So why are you doing
legs
that?
stretched up or just any holding? Do I have to keep it straight?
Just let it be elevated upward.
Okay.
Why are you doing this? So, you know, it's important to know the reason. That's why that's the first aid knowledge there, right? You just want to send blood back to the brain. And if you do this, it looks like magic. In fact, some people say, hey, it's not jazz. No, it's not jazz. It's just that what you did pushed blood back to the brain. And the person will be okay in few seconds. So these are things that don't require first aid box. Are we together?
Yeah.
A choked person, you don't need a first aid box to be able to manage them. So somebody is, you don't need a first aid box.
So what do you do in that case too? The same thing. When somebody is choked?
No. When somebody is choked, you give 5 back slaps. You have to position the person in the right way. Right? And then make them lean forward. So what I mean is, I wish this is a place where if this was just I would have shown something.
Show it.
Oh, okay. Is it okay?
Cameraman.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so please, Peculiar, could you stand up? So if I was going to take care of Peculiar as a choked person, so I would do something like this. and give 5 back slap. So,
Forceful.
yes, you have to apply some energy.
First one.
You rub
It's
the back.
different. Even all mothers know this one. You do the normal rubbing and then, you know.
Let me tell you my experience with the baby zone.
Oh,
That was a day I went to visit a friend that just gave birth to a baby, and I came in, they were sleeping. I opened the door and entered. She was lying down and breastfeeding the baby. And she has big boobs anyway, so the breast was on the face of the baby. So when I woke them up and picked the baby up, the baby was jacking.
Okay. Hiccup.
It wasn't hiccup. The baby was choking. And I asked her, what's wrong with her? She said she doesn't know, that she was okay. IJ, what happened? You know, trying to push it back to me. Well, but she was okay. The baby was practically going, you know, stretching herself, doing like this, doing that. And then we started shouting. It was an old woman, an elderly woman that came on Omugwo, the other building, that heard our voice and rushed down, picked the baby from us, held her on her legs, bent her head down, and hit her back like that. Bam, 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 and the baby milk started coming from the nose, mouth, and everything, you know, and she was jacked back to life. So how do we relate that one?
So basically, what happens with choking?
It was a horrible experience. I don't like. Each time I remember it, I feel like crying, honestly, because I wouldn't know how I would have explained.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because you're the person that woke them up.
I'm telling you, very horrible experience.
You're saying that the airways are blocked.
Okay, but the idea of holding her legs and bending her head down.
It might not be a wonderful practice to have held her upside down
Yes.
like that, right? Just the same way that some of the practices, even in the Igbo culture, is not just like this. During convulsion, you see people who go and get spoon and put in the person's mouth. Whereas these things, this person will recover if only you know the right first aid to it, right? So what the woman did helped to remove what was blocking the airways, but that is not the standard
appropriate
practice.
Yeah.
Good. So we need to, this is why we cannot overemphasize the importance of first aid in our community. Because most times when some of these things happen, it is not the doctors who are first responders, right? It is neighbors. And if they have knowledge of first aid, we will save more life. That's why we keep advocating that people should not underestimate the knowledge of first aid. And I talked about being a member of the Red Cross to get that knowledge for free. And then you said you were saying something else. You were saying, no, volunteering in Red Cross is free. Oh, you were thinking it's about money. Now I know the
you
problem.
mentioned commercial. No, once I hear money, my ears get blocked. Okay, but you brought in something as you were talking about a baby that is convulsing.
Yes.
Okay, how do we do that one? You said that we shouldn't put a spoon in the mouth.
So
what do we do?
basically, what is you have to see before you tackle any situation, you have to know why is this even happening in the first place. If you understand why it is happening, then you can be able to manage the situation.
Convulsion, get reason.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
now.
Yes.
It gets so
It
many
is
different things that can cause convulsion.
It is the body reacting to excess heat, right? So it's when the body's temperature rises above normal, most times it throws a baby or even an adult into convulsion.
Just heat.
Yes. Temperature, body temperature exceeding normal.
That is apupu. Okay, sorry, epilepsy is what?
Epilepsy is
Okay, epilepsy.
I wanted to ask, is
because-
epilepsy
because
convulsion?
my brain was just as in I was trying to,
So
Convulsion is the one of the little children.
The epilepsy is for
Even
the...
adults
Even
can
adults have
convulse.
yes. But
Right.
because with the adults, so it's children on that
So-
is basically seen everywhere.
So
now,
convulsion and
what
epilepsy
you-
are different. They are not
Yes,
related.
they are
So
two
you have
different things.
epileptic convulsion, Abi.
Exactly. I think I
Now,
read something like that.
We have to understand something. Now, when you talk of epilepsy, it's a spark in the brain, right? But convulsion is simply the body reacting to extreme
Excess heat.
excess heat
In the body.
So, yes, internally. So the truth about the matter, sometimes some people keep on doing a lot of things, both those that go and cut onion and start
And
putting,
do dark
both
to seal up
Nah.
the skin so that heat will not go out.
So now it is the body reacting to
Excess heat in the body. In the
right?
body.
So what do you do? As simple as stepping sponge. What is stepping sponge? Get a bowl of water under normal temperature. You get and get a piece. So whether or not you have first aid box, there's always a piece of cloth.
Yes.
What do
Face
you?
towel,
Yes.
whatever.
So now, what do you do with this? You start helping to calm the body down through tapping, sponging those places where heat is more like pronounced, like under the armpit, like the groin. So when you do this, after few
What of the head?
yes, the neck rather, around the neck.
Oh, really?
So when you do this, you just begin to, it feels like magic. But this person becomes more
Okay, what about
stable.
the idea of, first of all, pour water on the body of the baby?
That's wrong. It will throw the baby into shock.
Really?
Yes. So I got that question one of those days when I'm a trainer actually. So I got that question. I said, if not like that, no, just carry the person, put inside
Inside water now, or the whole body go cool. The whole body go cool at once.
For the whole body.
And that's the essence.
For the whole body to cool, right?
Yeah.
So it will throw the body into shock. It will be too sudden, right? Just the same way when a person faints, it's wrong to pour water. Yeah, this thing that some people, so you don't
Now faint, but
bring
really,
water,
but
bring
really.
water.
First,
They begin. Some people pour water. So those things are
Ignorance.
Those things are not healthy. They are not healthy.
But sometimes it works. So I pour ya the guy could I want the guy
So those things are not healthy. Now, why would that happen? Okay. When you do some of these things, you think it worked, but it actually because so let's use the water thing. Now, when you pour water, the heart there is this what do we call it? The reaction of your body forces the heart to
temperature.
Pump blood at a higher speed, and that's why you say they pour water, it wake up. It's not a healthy practice because if your body cannot handle it, you'll be thrown into shock.
Okay.
Right? So that's
You could
why.
wake up and still die.
So that is why it's very important. It's very important that this knowledge.
So what do we do when someone faints?
I've said it before now.
Okay.
Raise the lower extremes of the body.
Okay. The heat stuff. Now, talking about this heat stuff, there was one day I was traveling from the east, Onitsha, and I was going to the north. Around February, when the weather was very, very hot. So we got to a point. One elderly man started gasping for air in the vehicle.
Okay.
Maybe heat was so much. And then we got to a place and they got pure water, though it wasn't cool. Then a lady in the vehicle said they should put 2 bags under his armpits. 2 sachets of water under it. So I was wondering, I said, person they die here, they carry water, people have You understand? So this thing you just said now, just hit me as in, could that be? And the moment that thing was placed under the man's armpit, the man started recovering. I'm telling you, it was like magic. It was like magic. The man was struggling to breathe in the vehicle. So because the driver doesn't want to carry dead body, so the moment passenger started screaming in the vehicle, said, driver, Paco, person they die here. He said, so the driver was trying to look because it was a station wagon. This thing was way back. So the driver was trying to look through the rear view mirror.
Okay.
And actually saw that the man was more like, going down, and the driver just cleared. So luckily people were hawking things around. So the woman now called somebody selling pure water. The small boy ran down with pure water. They now said the man should try, and the man couldn't even lift his garment up. So this man collected 2 pure water and said they should insert it under the man's arm. As in, I went crazy. I said, "Madam, not before mad."
To observe heat.
That was what it was. And after a while, now good. That was the next thing. The man was just shouting, "Now good, now good." So how close to death was that guy there? Sincerely speaking, because we didn't know.
I don't have the tape to measure.
You understand? So now the question is, we will have been in that state, nobody with that knowledge, because people like us would have bought that water and just forced it through the man's mouth,
or start pouring on
his body. But the woman just said, no, put her for your armpit,
So this is why you need to get the knowledge.
Okay.
Well, I think this one you just said, I just took my mind back to that scenario that happened some time ago. Sincerely speaking, my intro was about a documentary I watched. I think it was Japanese children and how to, protect themselves in case of earthquake. Earthquake in Japan is like 5 and 6. Mm-hmm. You understand? Based on the way the region is. Kids go under the table, make sure that they go under the table under a structure that would prevent them. Do we have such trainings in schools based on the flood disasters that we have? Is it the responsibility of government, or is it this community that is prone to whatever disaster that comes there, that will now call on the Red Cross? Please, come and sensitize our community on how to save life and reduce the impact of these natural disasters or man-made disasters, as the case may be.
Okay, let me come in here. You see, everybody has a role to play here.
Okay.
Safety is everybody's business.
Both the government, both the community, both individuals around have a responsibility. Now, on the side of the government, some of these things are actually not in our school curriculum. If they are there is it would have been a different issue.
We are relaxed because we don't have such issues of natural disaster.
That is something.
So
if I wouldn't
there are
know,
some that affect us actually.
They have, like they talk about flooding.
Exactly.
Flood affects us.
We should come to a point where some of these things get into our curriculum, that it should be part of the teaching. Okay, now let me refer you back. In some of the flooded area, the riverine area, their school calendar is quite different. While other people are on a long vacation, they are schooling during this August. As you close in July, the children get back at July, they are still in session. Through to maybe middle of August or towards end of August, they will now come break. Why? Because it is being proven that the flood usually happens between end of August, September, so as not to affect those children. So by that time, part of what they are supposed to do this first time, they have started it during that August. You see,
they do their first time during
they
the
try
long
to
vacation.
I'm talking about Anambra State.
So it doesn't affect their WAEC, it doesn't affect their other...
No, WAEC there is a particular period for WAEC, May, June. So it's nothing like that.
It doesn't affect it.
The rain has not even become too much then. But then, on the other hand, like you said, if some of these things get into our school curriculum, then we start impacting the knowledge. That is one. Number two, the community has a role to play, whereby some of these things are not in the curriculum. They could organize a session. Somebody called me the other day, that the community had a town hall meeting, a women's meeting, August meeting.
Yeah.
So they invited Red Cross to go and sensitize them on one or two things. You see the place of community. Then individuals as well can decide to get into this. That's why I say it is the responsibility of every single person. So nobody is exempted.
So still
And you
on
are
that,
part of that single person,
now,
because I expect you to say that during August meetings that you guys will organize yourselves to go to all these meetings and talk to the women, even without being invited, because I know this invitation may
just to add to, the truth about the matter is Red Cross have been on their toe when it comes to early warning, early action. If you go to communities like Inoma, Owele, Ukwala, these are people that Ibedo. These are people that once you hear bam, flood. If you just the rain fell, excess, flood in those communities. Now, that is why Red Cross took it upon themselves. We did a simulation exercise in those communities. Why did we do that? It is so that we educate, we enlighten them. That is one of our roles. You get. We enlighten them. We train them on how to respond. Now, Red Cross can only do so much because of we are constrained by resources also, right? Now, but because we know that these people experience it annually.
I know Red Cross is
right?
a non-profit organization.
Annually. So that's why we engage them. And they were so excited. Some of this knowledge, they are knowledge that when you have, you are just happy. Right?
And that's why you should be giving it to us. You don't wait for us to invite you, because I know that
now, even in Obaru,
Yeah.
our volunteers, because we have volunteers, Red Crossers, in all these communities,
Okay.
we take our time
We're running off. We don't
to
have
teach them.
much time
So
again.
our volunteers are currently in these communities,
In fact, this morning in Atama,
educating people, and enlightening them
That's good.
about this flood, because that is what they
Without
are prone
invitation.
to.
Without invitation.
No, without
Okay,
invitation.
thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now, as we are running up now, Peculiar, let this be your summary. I know that recently you see that things has really changed, and that's what they call it, why some people say it is a climate change. When it starts raining, it rains excessively. Little rain, you will see flood. Just a little drizzling is already, there's already flood on the gutters. When it starts shining, it will be like it has never rained before, and a whole lot of things. Even the wind that blows, a whole lot of things that changed about. Sometimes you don't even know when it's rainy season, dry season, harmattan season, all those ones.
Exactly.
So this climate change, please advise our people on how to, live within this, because a lot of countries are just going around telling people that that's a climate change. You need to change your way of life. It is not what it used to be. So please, let that be our concluding statement.
Part of what you need to do, like when you talk about the heat and all that, we now need to understand that, see, things are no longer the way it used to be. As an individual, you do your best to make sure that you are with water all the time, so as to always calm your system.
Keep
yourself hydrated.
It's very, very necessary. So that when it is shining, at least you are drinking and your system is coming low. Then on the other part, you cannot tell, we are used to go fetch water and all those things. It's that time we start storing things, food items and all that. The much you can, not because you have the whole money, but the little you can, Then outside that, for everybody out there, it is very necessary we get very much good knowledge about first aid and response. The reason is because it can strike at any point in time. Anything can happen.
Doesn't give information.
In fact, the theme of this year's World First Aid, they say first aid
and climate change.
And what are we talking about? Building resilience. And building resilience has a lot to do with getting the knowledge and preparing ahead.
Okay.
And to add to that,
Briefly.
Yeah, of course, briefly. To add to that, we are also saying that people should engage in healthy habits, like tree planting. Red Cross initiated a program called tree planting. So these things can also help our environment and reduce the rate at which the climate is actually changing, right? And people should stop engaging in things like deforestation and certain characters that don't profit our world. So that is just an addition.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, we must go because we have really given this topic a good bite. And what's the topic? Building resilience future through first aid and disaster preparedness. As we hosted Joseph Obidiwe, Branch Communication Officer, NRCS, Anambra State, Nigerian Red Cross. That's what it means.
Society,
Okay,
Anambra
thank you very much
State
for
Branch.
coming. You will come again, but not with invitation. You just decided, come on, you. Okay, we also hosted a Peculiar Oji, disaster management expert. Thank you very much. This one is the member of the house. You're always here with us.
Yes,
Okay, I think we will have to look for a ID card for you.
Aye.
ABS ID. AJ, let's go.
Yeah, that's what we call it, but you can never talk, extend the opportunity, the chance you have about disaster and then climate change and first aid, because that's what we are. Nature cries out and says, man, your work done too much for you. And we, as man and inhabitants of Earth, there is a way we need to balance the way we do, just like Joseph said, tree planting and the rest of it. Or let's not make this place unsafe for our generations yet unborn. And that's how we'll wrap this program, this segment, I beg your pardon. Up next is Catch the Bus, where we bring you some, you know, entertaining news, nothing on that, you know, seriousness, just let's loosen our grip a little bit and things like that. Don't go anywhere. The show continues after this break.